Hey world, welcome to MatthewSpencer.tv. My name is Matthew, where we are all about faith, music, and imagination. Today's topic, I want to talk a little bit about the world situation that we are witnessing unfold before our very eyes, namely Putin and Biden is what I wanted to talk about a little bit. I love watching world news. I think a lot of Americans, they don't really care what's happening in the world. We're just focused on our own lives and our own pleasures and entertainment, really living the easy life. But the thing is these bigger pictures things matter, because if we are not paying attention to the world news, then if we're not paying attention to what's happening in the world, then it does affect us eventually. So yesterday, so this is February the 22nd, 2023. Yesterday, Putin, the president of Russia, gave a speech. He did a State of the Nation address to the Russian people. Of course, it had all the bigwigs there, the oligarchs, the Patriarch of Moscow from the Orthodox Church, you name them, military generals. He gave a speech that was actually a rebuttal to Biden, President Biden. They call him President Biden, who actually visited Ukraine, I think, the day before, and basically said that America is going to stand with Ukraine for as long as it takes. So, you guys, we are seeing an escalation of geopolitical things that are pushing America and the world really to a possible World War III, which nobody in their right mind wants that, except for the elites that are pushing us there. I think I've been kind of developing a different opinion than the majority of Americans. We have this idea, this State Department groupthink, that the Russians are the bad guys, they're the communists. If you watch any popular American movie, the Russians are always the bad guys, right? So we have this ingrained mentality that we don't really want to understand Russians. They're just the bad guys. So we are against them by default. I'm not going to say I'm justifying Putin's, how they're behaving, the horrible atrocities that are happening in Ukraine. But we're not seeing both sides of the story from the Western media. There's lots of propaganda happening in the West. There's lots of things happening that you're not getting in the news media. There's disinformation coming probably from both sides, if we're going to be honest. But it's not just coming from the Russian side. There's lots of disinformation coming from the Western side. So another thing I think is just outrageous is that now that they were sending Russia tanks to defend Ukraine, and now the West is actually talking about sending fighter jets. Of course, Zelensky, who's the president of Ukraine, he's asking for fighter jets. And this is insanity, guys. This is crazy. Why would we send them offensive weapons to attack Russia with? This is a proxy war. We are fighting a proxy war with Russia through Ukraine. And it's getting worse. And you have this mutual admiration society in the globalists in the EU and the Europe, and America, and basically we're all saying, yes, we should be fighting tooth and nail. We should be helping Ukraine, and this is a great idea. You guys, this is insanity. I don't want a World War III. Nobody wants a World War III with Russia. Nobody wants a nuclear war. So we should put the brakes on this and say, hey guys, wait a minute. We could have been friends with Russia if we had stayed strong and hadn't continually poked the bear in Ukraine. There's lots of things in Ukraine that we did, lots of evidence of that. So this is a very concerning situation. So anyway, let's continue to watch the news. We of course need to pray about this, but we need to speak up too. Pray that God would have mercy, on the world, that we would not have a World War III, because it's devastating, obviously, to families, to nations. But let's also trust that God is using all this for His purpose. And I think, from the scriptural perspective, God raises nations up to resist globalist governments. And this is something that's happened since the beginning, since Genesis 11, when they sought to build a tower. And they said, we're going to build a tower. And there's nothing that we can't do if we are in unity, right? And so, of course, all the power begins to be invested in a very small group of people. And this is not God's plan. Of course, we know eventually the Antichrist will rise in a globalist system. I don't think it's time for the Antichrist. I believe that the book of Daniel says that he will seek to change times and seasons. I think that the Antichrist is trying to change times and seasons and set up a government, a globalistic government, before the time. And that's one of the reasons why I think God is using, yes, God is using Russia, even if it's to judge them eventually. God is using Russia as a nationalistic move against the globalist European Union, NATO, and the West. So you're going to see this continued tension between the West and the East continue. I don't see Ukraine winning this war unless the U.S. wants to start throwing nuclear bombs at Russia, and I really hope that we get our senses together. That this would not happen. We are seeing a presidential election coming up again into next year, 2024, November 2024. So this whole war drums beating is going to really affect how the presidential elections work out. You're going to start seeing probably a lot of more Americans maybe start waking up to this reality of war. It amazes me that those who would never fly an American flag or on their houses are flying Ukrainian flags. And those are the very people who probably came out of the hippie movement and the anti-war movement of the 60s and 70s, the anti-Vietnam movement. And now they're chanting and they're loving, Ukraine, and they want to fight against Russia. It's like, you people are insane. Total double standard. Anyway, thanks for watching. These are just some comments. Go to my website, MatthewSpencer.tv. There you're going to find my blogs, my videos, my music, my messages, my talks, my books, everything that I do. So thank you guys for watching. Hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.